I'm not going to do that. I'm going to start the show because here we are. This is From A to B, presented to you by Awesemo.com. Ben, it's Monday. What's going on, man?
Not much. Happy Monday. Yeah, we're going to talk. A lot of NFL happened, but the week is not over. We got Showdown tonight. Skins, Eagles. We will be breaking that down for the majority of the show. But before we do that, how was your weekend?
It was fun. It's a good time. You know, got to watch the greatest quarterback of all time set the greatest rushing record of all time. You know, exciting stuff.
I would have rather him found the end zone. I had some Brady yesterday in it, but
yeah, we were talking with some of our friends in a Slack chat about how it's like game manager again. It's like gone back to 2003 Tom Brady. It's weird. That's okay though. I don't know. We're here. Yeah, let's talk about how did it go for you? I had a good week like overall in DFS.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's nice.
Did you play cash?
I didn't play much, just a little bit.
Okay.
It was fine. Did not get there. It would not have been a good week to go all in. I just was a little weirded out by the Spencer Ware thing, just because that took away a spot. And it's like, all right, now I'm into this. If I'm playing head-to-heads, you know, it's going to come down to like a 2v2. My 2v2 was bad because I was like locking in Manny Sanders and Kenny Golladay, who were my worst two plays of the week. But
Yep.
if it wasn't like, you know, I came really close in a lot of big things. Like I had some sweats. Those two really hurt. If I hadn't played as much of them, it might have been a more productive sweat overall. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's, you know, it's when you're playing giant field tournaments, you need everything. You can't survive. A bomb. My week was not good. First of all, it shouldn't have been good because I made my stand with the Falcons. I think we all saw what happened. They were just awful, outplayed. It was weird. The game started off, I thought, pretty well. Then they gave multiple stupid penalties, and then they just lost. I mean, they were thoroughly drummed. Their only offense was not offense. It was scoring on defense to get up 10-7, but that was a killer. I had so much Julio. You know, I had one team that was super good in giant field tournaments that can only claw back so much. My high stakes teams were not good. You know, actually Showdown last night saved me a little bit. That was my best Showdown of the year. Good, wild game.
Yeah.
Chargers, just crazy.
Amazing game. We'll get to that. Like we should let's go through the main slate a little bit more first.
Sure.
I liked your call, like, and that's, you know, that's worth talking about. Like that Falcons stand you made, I'm down with it. I didn't do it as much. You know, you got me into a little. I played a few Matt Ryan things, but I saw you were like aggressively on Julio, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like if that had worked, you look like a genius. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I when I do things like that, I'm fully aware that if it was a certainty, I would just obviously be certain. You know, I want to live and die with the stand that I feel most confident in, and that was it. I was punished because it was wrong, but weeks like that for me are a lot easier to take than when it's, why did I even do this, or I didn't capitalize. I got what I wanted out of them. I knew they were going to be low owned, unsuccessful. The other annoying thing, and this is what happens with news, Spencer Ware changed things about the slate that have nothing to do with him. It upped my Tyreek exposure. It lessened. I was way over on Tariq Cohen, but it would have been even more. And that was the guy that you were super highly on. It
killed my Tariq Cohen exposure. That was like a major bummer for me. Was just like, all right, Spencer Ware is necessary chalk. I'm just biting it and dealing with it. And
hard to not think that.
Yeah, and I did, and it got me off because I really wanted to play Gurley. I really wanted to play McCaffrey, so I had a lot of lineups with the three of them. So it just didn't leave me room for Tariq Cohen, and that was a problem because I really liked him coming into the week. Alec Ogletree is a disaster, so I really liked his chances, and he was amazing. Our boy Seth, Victor lapping in chat already. Listen, buddy, we saw that. We were going to get to you. We were going to shout you out, but he's got to talk about it already. Yeah, he was on Tariq Cohen and Kelsey. Those were excellent plays.
Yep, and we see in chat as well, Matt A, good stuff. Yeah, Gurley, Kelsey, those are obviously the spots to pay up for. It was funny. Tyreek, I mean, we talk about him all the time on the show. He was the closest I've ever seen for a guy that busted completely. He was the closest I've ever seen. He almost had 50.
Yeah.
Like dropped multiple like 70-yard touchdowns.
That was the closest. I mean, that was the strongest I felt about not. I've been on Tyreek Hill almost every week this season. I played 0% yesterday.
Really?
It was scary, but yeah, I just didn't like this. I talk about Tyreek Hill as a chalk guy being, and here's the other thing: if he catches one of those, like long passes are very hard to complete, right? Even Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback. I'm just kidding. Like he's never been like a great deep ball thrower. He only had that 1 year with Moss. Like he misses them a lot. Like everyone misses him. Pat Mahomes sucked yesterday. Like he did not have a good game. He was the best quarterback for DFS as he always is. He made a couple amazing throws. But he missed Tyreek Hill, who was clear of everyone by 4 steps, like twice.
Multiple times, yeah. I'm stunned, actually, that you didn't, just because of the rate, like you're...
It was the 9,100, man. 175-yard touchdown does not pay off $9,100. You got to do that at least twice.
Yeah, it seemed like I don't know, I was worried of, I was trending towards 0% before the Ware news happened, and I certainly did not go 0%. I wanted to mix and match Ware with one of them. Obviously, the Ware Kelsey was miles better. But
I played a lot of Ware Kelsey. That was the thing. So my week ended up pretty well because a big part of it was I like to play. So this is a contest that I don't think a lot of people know about, but it's one of my favorites. Is the $27 Super Booster. I forget how many people are in it, but it's like top 75. Basically if you have a 99th percentile lineup, it pays you $1,000. So if you have a lineup that's really good, but not like tournament win, that's the thing. So I came in, whatever, we'll get to it, but I came in 9th in the Showdown last night, which was like great, but it was $99,000 less than 4 points more in first place. But the Super Booster, the $27 Super Booster, it's always sold out by Sunday, so you have to enter it on Saturday. But basically, if you have, I usually put my main tournament lineups in it, and if one of them is really good but not like amazing, not like I'm gonna win everything, it pays out $1,000 for $27 is a big payout. So I had a couple that hit in there that were Pat Mahomes with Kelsey and Ware and no Tyreek Hill. So that way you could play either Gurley or C-Mac and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's an interesting blend of like, because it's so top heavy, even in the top 1% lineups. Like having a 1% lineup is good. That's not a recipe for success. Like in the Millie yesterday, like I had a couple of lineups that were good enough to crack into the top 500, and yeah, it pays you 5, 10x. Yep. But in other tournaments, obviously, and that's something I don't know if you can. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say for what it's worth, those 10 lineups I put 10 lineups in the Super Booster and 10 lineups in the $100 Millie Maker. In the $100 Millie Maker, I got $1,100 back. In the Super Booster, I put $270 in, and I got $2,000 back.
There you go.
It's like, yeah, $1 million is a hell of a lot more, but those boosters are pretty cool. Like, it's just, if you have a really good but not like unbelievable lineup, then it's a nice way.
And you obviously want to hedge that. Like, I would never put a team in a Super Booster without it being in a large field tournament.
Yeah, it was the same 10 lineups in each.
Yeah. Just because if you ever won a Super Booster by 50 points, that would be a horrible feeling.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, the Chiefs game was weird, and then the other late game, Mullins and the Niners racked up a ton of yards in Seattle. They were never in the game, but for fantasy purposes, him and Dante Pettis were good things. I did not get there in any capacity. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't take much away from the slate. I really liked that slate yesterday. I wish Stafford and Galladay could have connected on the white. That was disappointing. I was heavy on Galladay, but did you have any other thoughts that stuck out before we get to Showdown?
Yeah, there's a couple other things I'd talk about. It was a fun week of football.
These bigger slates. I mean, it was 13 games.
Yep. Galladay on the white was tough. Like he had like one toe on the.
So close.
That would have been a bummer. I got really hurt actually too by I mean, well, Mike McCarthy got fired, but I got hurt by the missed field goal because I really needed. I had pretty egregious overexposure to Devontae Adams. He was only 7% owned, and I played like 35% of him, and he had a good game. I mean, he was like the best, almost the best, like expensive receiver. I'm trying to think of who was like actually. Yeah, I think he might have been right because he scored like 23, but he had 93 yards, and like OT, he's definitely getting that bonus, and that would have been huge, but. But yeah, because he beat. I mean, Tyreek Hill was bad, Julio was bad, Thielen was bad.
Dude, even DeAndre Hopkins, he wasn't great, and it was out of necessity, in the sense they did not need him to do anything. Texans defense, that was one of the things I was on. That was good. Yeah. They scored, which was good, and I did have a plenty. It hurt my Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins teams, of course, because it really took the pressure off of what they needed to do on offense. But yeah, I mean, these big slates, obviously this is more NFL, not DFS news. The Panthers are just dust. What a collapse they've been. Cam was awful yesterday.
And got it done in DFS. If you played him in cash, you're not pissed, No.
Oh yeah, he got it done just on pure being Cam, but my God, was that an ugly game.
Yeah, he was terrible. You know who was terrible yesterday, actually?
Who?
Jared Goff had a bad game.
I didn't watch much of that, to be honest. The Lions game.
Yeah, he just missed some throws, man.
Did you see Gurley go down at the end there? Then he scored anyway. I needed him to score. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I was trying to think about that. Was that even the right call?
No, it was a mistake. They couldn't run it out.
Right, it was a touchdown game, like.
No, and it wasn't. If it's a kneel down, it's like annoying for DFS, but I get it. But they had the 2-minute warning and a timeout, so it's like you didn't calculate that right. So then they just made him score, which was
he's just
okay.
He's actually trolling.
But yeah, I mean, there was obviously paying down, and a lot of people did this. It was a common, Godwin and Humphreys. Mm-hmm. If you did that, it freed up a ton of salary. You could go get there were a million teams that had them and then ran it back with C-Mac. Obviously, that was super effective in the early window. He's great. He's going to continue to be great. I think he was a little over-owned. He's 40% in the $100 milli. That's a lot of ownership for a guy like that. But, of course, very good player.
It was Godwin, Humphreys, Jameis, and then you can afford to spend up for both C-Mac and Gurley.
Yep.
That ended up being optimal. Our buddy, Manny again looked like the favorite for a little bit. He had a sick team for a while. He was winning the milli in the early slate. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Cause wants to know thoughts on Josh Allen.
I was going to say,
so close. I mean, Clay probably should have made that play.
Probably? Are you kidding me?
It was not a perfect throw, but he should have been able to make that play.
Not a perfect throw, but he also, part of this was his own doing. He got out of a ridiculous situation just to have a throw. That scramble was insane.
Yeah.
135 yards rushing. What can I say? You know what? He's obviously got a lot of work to do. But for a guy giving it a bad team chances to win, I know I'm as biased as they come with Josh Allen. I think it's very impressive that he's battling for them.
He is. No, he's.
I just worry he's going to get hurt. That's my biggest concern. Is he's taking a lot of shots, especially because he's running so much. I hope they can get him some protection and some weapons going forward so he can develop into a real quarterback.
Yeah, I still haven't seen him have a real quarterback game. You know what I mean?
I don't know if that's that's his fault right now, though.
Right. He's got the worst receiving core in the league. He's got one of the worst offensive lines. It's just
that's tough. He's doing what he can to stay in these games, and it's been somewhat impressive to me.
Yeah.
He's also killing Shady. Not that a lot of people are playing him, but I think it really hurts McCoy because a lot of these, even in the red zone, Josh Allen is running the ball into the end zone. That's a killer when you have limited touchdowns in general.
Right. Yeah, Shady continues to be free. Speaking of free, Lamar Miller was like $4,500 yesterday. I actually had him mostly in my Texans defense stuff, but that was a great call. And, do you feel good about, you want to pile it on Baker while you're here? I mean, here's the thing. We can make fun of every quarter because that was the worst week of quarterback play we've seen all year. like real
It was
life
ugly.
quarterback play, so we can make fun of everyone.
No, I mean, I'm not, like I said, as much as people think I'm a Baker hater, I'm not. I just think, once again, you're going to
Bullshit.
get
You're a
me.
Baker. You hate Baker.
I'm not a huge fan, to be honest, but
He's a
you're going to
terrible
get,
dancer. I'll give you that. Like, have you seen him do, like, his very little rhythm, but whatever.
he puts up some games like we saw yesterday. That's all I'm saying. He's another one. Talent through the roof. He's been more impressive than I thought he would be this year. I couldn't believe he went number one. I thought that was a huge mistake. I thought you just take Darnold because all in all, that's not that I thought he was going to be the best, but when you factored it in, I thought he was the safest. But yeah, it is
Darnold's
what it
been
is.
the worst of all 5 of them, really.
Probably, yeah. No, it's a long way from writing those careers. So they're not too fantasy relevant. Josh Allen's getting a little relevant, I guess, but
I still think Rosen looks the best. He has no offensive line, but they really screwed up, honestly, by winning that game yesterday. That's not good for them. It's good for your Jets. That was a clutch loss.
They fought, and then they lost, which was it's just a lot of teams, jumbled up where it's hard to tell from even a DFS side how good, like the Titans, the Broncos. I know someone in chat just asked this. Can you attack them? Sutton was a guy I got over on, and he showed some life, made a great catch. It's just really hard to rely on production. Manny Sanders and Lacoste. Both, I mean, look, he got 0. Manny Sanders was non-existent. You can target those teams, but you just cannot peg the production accurately week in and week out.
Yeah, Keenum wasn't really launching it either yesterday. Like, that's the thing you're hoping for with the Broncos, is that they get back, they get down. And I mean, Keenum will he's a psycho. He'll do some crazy shit.
But Philip Lindsay, who is obviously, the secret's out. Guy he's really, he's good. He's putting up big numbers. And if his if his price stays where he was or only increases a little, he's going to be one of the most popular guys next week.
Yep. That was that's my biggest screw up last week. I just didn't like him. And I didn't realize people liked him that much. I opened it up. It's like, holy crap. Because he breaks the huge one. And it's like, oh, wow, is this a slate breaker? And then he's 30% owned. It's like, my God. But
that was a killer for someone like me because I think I liked him a little more than you did. Yeah, but my whole plan was like, all right, let me get 20% and get over. And nope. Yeah, it's like, can I get to 40% Philip Lindsay? No. And part of that was I liked Tariq Cohen, which was great. But running back, that was the killer yesterday with Spencer Ware in particular. It wasn't even that he was horrible. It was that he cost one of the 3 potential running back spots.
Right. He was fine, but there were 4 guys. So basically, yeah, same. There were 4 guys that you needed 3 of in your lineups if you wanted to take down a tournament yesterday, right? Gurley, Christian McCaffrey, Tariq Cohen, and Philip Lindsay. Like, you needed to have 3 of those. And I didn't, like, the Ware thing screwed everything up for me, and I played a ton of him, and that cost me, I wasn't going to play Lindsay, but it cost me a ton of Tariq Cohen. I played a lot of Aaron Jones, too. That wasn't great.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was fine, but it wasn't tournament winning,
No. Also, just one other thing. Your boy, Chris Harris, broke his leg. Tough one. So that should soften, especially slot guys against Denver. That can be a spot. Not that it was a we saw Juju. They got him on the outside, and boom, huge game. But all in all, you didn't want to attack slot guys against Denver. Now, open season for sure.
Definitely. And if an offensive line is big, then you can run on them. Like, Chubb and Von Miller are incredible pass rushers, but Von Miller's had a bit of a down season. He's a good run stopper, but he can't do it all by himself. And both of those guys are on the smaller side. They're not your hulking run stopping types. They're more pure pass rushers, like super fast guys. Cool. All right, well, we'll get to last night and tonight, but as a gift for everyone out there for supporting Awesemo.com and all of our content, we are giving something away every day of December through Christmas Eve For this first week or this second week, we'll give one lucky person a free NFL membership for the rest of the season that includes all of the rankings for every slate, ownership projections, all the premium content you want. All you have to do is click the like button down below, and on the YouTube video, not in chat, comment whatever you want them to comment. Friday, we had a dozen people or something like that comment their Super Bowl picks. So same idea, but you have to do it on the YouTube screen, not in chat. And you are entered to win. You can get a free month.
It's a free roll.
Yeah, and then there's a free year. So, if you don't mind liking us, that would be awesome. And then you should comment. What do you want to have them comment today?
Today?
Optimal captain for tonight?
Yeah, who is in the winning lineup captain spot?
Yep.
On DraftKings.
Okay, yeah, so if you don't mind liking us and then commenting below who you think is going to be in the winning captain spot on DraftKings. Last night, the winning captain was Keenan Allen. You like that?
He was.
On the radio for a while.
And that was a good segue, yeah. That was a wild game. God, I should have got more out of it. I had my best showdown, Justin Jackson. I don't understand why they waited. Not that I knew he was going to be that effective, but I really thought they should have given him some work. The minute they did, that flipped the game.
Yeah, that was huge.
He could have had a huge game. We both, which was funny.
Let me do this one, because this was your call, and that was as far as I'm concerned, that was the call of the year.
Yeah. James Washington becomes inactive, and then this happens. Go ahead. Just
before, you and I are talking in Slack, and you're like, "Are you playing any Justin Hunter?" I'm like, "Why would I play Justin Hunter?" And you're like, "Well, James Washington was inactive." I'm like, "I didn't even see that." Like, I have several Twitter accounts that are like news reports that push to my phone, so like I see everything as it happens because it's part of my job for the projection stuff. That had not come across my radar. I did not notice that, and this is 10 minutes before the game. And you're like, yeah, that's going to kill, I think, 3 to 5% of teams that are going to play James Washington. It's like, all right, and Justin Hunter is freaking tall, like he's a touchdown catcher. So we both get on a fair amount of them. I had like 20%. I think you probably had similar.
That was in that range.
0.9% owned this guy. And
on a showdown.
On a showdown, which is impossible. Like, you cannot get a good play at 0.9% owned. And they launched 2 shots to him, one of which, absolutely should have been caught. And
the easiest touchdown of the year. He was in clear by. And then not only that, ironically, not only did Big Ben overthrow him, he dove and he got hurt, and then he was out for the game. Yeah. So it's just like, well. So, yeah, Justin Hunter got us both 0. Would have been nice, but yeah, I mean.
I had my best showdown of the year too. Like, I came in, 9th in the lotto, like $800. Would have rather had the, it was 97.5 for first last night. Would have preferred that, but
we saw last night, and obviously we're going to start to transition into the game tonight. The power of Travis Benjamin was mispriced, and immediately that kind of funneled a build. You used him, and then it was you're paying for the studs. Which stud is the right captain? It was bouncing between Keenan Allen, AB, Connor. Then Connor went down. He kind of wasn't going to get there. But when you have a guy who's $200 that makes an impact like that, it changes the entire showdown slate.
Right. And, yeah, I had it's 2 showdowns in a row. I've had my best showdown of the year. Thursday was awesome. And then last night was my best, quadrupled up my buy-in, which is nice. It's not retirement season yet. But they yeah, exactly. But I had like 70% T. Benjamin at $200, and then when he cranks that long one, it's like, all right, well, he's paid off. And I had a lot of him in the captain spot because then you could buy every stud.
Yeah, it was just choose who you want. I thought it was a fairly not easy script, but the way it played out was in the short list of how I want Justin Jackson, Benjamin. I just, for some reason, and this is what happens. It's a fine line. A lot of one-offs, and me and 50,000 of my closest friends can say that.
Yeah. The Hunter thing is so tilted because I actually had lineups where it was Hunter and Benjamin, and then 4 studs with a ton of money left on the table. So that's definitely a unique lineup, and oh man, I could have used that. But it happens.
Yeah, I mean that was. When you have a guy, usually when we're looking for $200 players, it's like this guy might get 15 snaps, and kind of like Justin Hunter, obviously. Like he might get one or two deep shots. Travis Benjamin with Tyrell Williams, he was active in playing, but he was basically sidelined on the field at this point. It was just a misprice. So
yeah, he was going to play 60-70% of the snaps. And he was so mispriced that he didn't get played enough because you couldn't, like, if you wanted to play the kickers and the defenses and stuff like that, then you're not filling up your cap, and people are just uncomfortable doing. You don't like to make a $45,000 lineup.
Yeah, and with him, like, it was even more. It was super extreme if you punted a couple of spots with him. So that made it tough. But tonight, as much as I hope it's similar, this just feels like a totally different game. You got a huge game for NFL purposes. Eagles at home, -6, over-unders 45, so nothing really stands out there. We got, we're obviously going to do our best to break it down. First thing that we both noticed right before the show, it's a lot of Q tags out there. So it's going to be a lot of if statements. You're going to have to wait and see because a lot of potential guys are still up in the air in terms of if they play.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. So, briefly on that, we've got Jordan Reed might not play. Chris Thompson is back. Josh Adams did practice, right? So he's in good shape.
Yeah, he's trending to play, but we've got Crowder. I think Sproles is trending to play. We got to see what Jordan Reed. Chris Thompson looks like a go.
Pierre Garçon didn't play. I still think of him as a Washington Redskin.
He's a perpetual Colt, Redskin, and Niner simultaneously.
Yeah.
This is actually pretty crazy. Just worth noting. I know we're moving on to this game, but Antoine in chat just said someone soloed FanDuel. That's absurd.
Oh, wow. That's hard to do.
They left a ton of money. Justin Jackson and Benjamin. Interesting.
Okay. Huh. I like it. Damn, we should have played FanDuel. That would not have been out of the realm. That would have been insane.
We have a question for, do you think putting a player who is priced less than the kickers can win a showdown? Absolutely. It depends on game script. When these games are higher scoring, generally, unless someone like Travis Benjamin gets involved, it can be tough. But that's definitely an effective strategy. It allows you to pay up for more of the top end guys.
Well, last night was nice too because we had two $200 players. Sunday night showdowns I think are actually easier to get. I think they're easier to find lower owned plays too because there's not as much content. People aren't like preparing for it all day like they do for this one or the Thursday night one. It's not like those like us aren't doing a show. So it's a lot of people just like, all right, well, I just got paid for my lineups from the main slate, and like I'm just gonna pump some stuff into this showdown. I think there's more edge on the Sunday night showdown than any other one, to be honest. But also last night we had two guys that were $200 that were totally in play, and one of them was 1% owned. God damn it!
So close. All right, let's get into this. First thoughts, we'll start with captain spots. That's what we got people asking in chat. Do you have kind of an inkling of how you want to do it? My first thought was your boy, the guy that you can't stand, Carson Wentz.
I love Carson Wentz. He's one of the best. Yeah. One of
Ever.
The best. Carson Wentz is fine. He's a league average quarterback. It's pretty good.
As North Dakota State marches to another potential championship for anyone following the DAA playoffs. They got Colgate this week. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Colgate, that's upstate New York, right?
Colgate's defense is they gave up 6 points over 7 games. Team is anyway, we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, I like Wentz. I like him a lot as the captain tonight. I think that makes the most
unlike
sense.
Last night, this just feels like there's not as many to choose from up top. You just had so many, both QBs. I don't have a ton of interest in going like Colt McCoy at captain. I may use him. That doesn't seem like an optimal build in my eyes. This is going to be, in my opinion, pretty ugly game. Ball control, don't turn it over. Kickers, defenses, I think have a much better chance to be in the optimal lineup tonight. Whereas last night, even with a pick 6, the Chargers defense was not part of the winning lineup.
Nope. Yeah, I don't like. I find it hard. It's like harder to tell the story sometimes because it's like what does a kicker even correlate with? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, your
An
team is
ugly
moving.
game.
Yeah, your team's moving the ball. They get stopped in the red zone, but like, who does that even benefit? You know, how are they moving the ball? Who gets hurt the most by, like, obviously quarterbacks get hurt the most by no touchdowns. So like, kicker and quarterback are probably the worst correlation. But also, like, I don't ever want to make a lineup without quarterbacks in it because like they're going to score the most points. So when kickers get involved, I'm not as into it.
Me too. So the way I think of it, I actually split running back in my head. Like the worst person for a kicker is a running back who doesn't catch passes because like he needs the end zone. Whereas someone like, not that Eckler was good last night, but like he's almost independent of his touchdowns if he gets 10 targets.
Right.
So you know they can dink and dunk down the field and then stall and kick field goals, and that actually works pretty effectively. So like Chris Thompson, in my opinion, correlates much better with the kickers than someone like Adrian Peterson.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense to me. I don't really play Adrian Peterson anyway.
I don't have I don't play him a ton either. Don't have a ton of interest in him here just because, as we said, Chris Thompson is looking like he is back. Colt McCoy can move a bit. Feels like a dump off. The Eagles the Eagles defense, of course, has taken many step backs. The secondary is destroyed. They got nobody left.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much Colt McCoy can really carve them up regardless, though.
No, I don't think so. He's just not a very good thrower of the football. That's tough. He can run himself quite well, but like that's a hard thing to do against the Eagles because their front seven is still absolutely dominant. They just kind of struggled elsewhere. But yeah, so I like the idea of Wentz with Wentz and captain, and if you put when I put the quarterback at the captain spot, I'm like triple stacking with him. You know, I'm throwing a bunch of receiving options, hoping that works out. I often will play the quarterback if I have the quarterback not in the captain spot, or rather, if I have like a wide receiver in captain, I'll usually play the quarterback with them as well, just not in the captain spot. So stuff like that. I like the idea of Golden Tate tonight. I think they've been really trying to get him involved. It hasn't gelled yet, but Golden Tate's a really good player. He can make a lot of stuff happen. He can make, mediocre league average quarterbacks like Carson Wentz look good in the stats category when the puts a bunch of yak up there,
What are your thoughts on Josh Adams is the guy that I'm most, I guess, confused on. He was chalk last week, in the main slate, wasn't doing much, and then still found the end zone, still got there, had one target, so mostly going to be relying on the ground, but he had 22 carries. If he sees that volume, obviously, you're going to want some, but the Eagles are still a team with many options at running back. We had a question whether we prefer someone like Chris Thompson or Adams. I think how I would say it, and I use this a lot, Adams is more likely to beat him, but Chris Thompson is more likely to have a slate-breaking performance. A little more risk-reward with a guy like Thompson.
I will have triple the exposure to Chris Thompson that I will to Josh Adams.
There you go.
And I may play 30% Josh Adams. So
oh man, you like Thompson that much?
I like Thompson a lot. He's just like I don't know. He's just a really exciting player when he's out there, and he's like, I kid about Carson Wentz. He's good. All right, chill out, everyone. But Colt McCoy does suck, and Chris Thompson is someone who can make a mediocre, shitty quarterback like Colt. He can throw a screen pass to Chris Thompson and then have him break one for him. So I really like. I think Thompson is maybe my favorite of Colt McCoy's weapons. That, or if Jordan Reed is out, or even if Jordan Reed's not out, I think I'm going to play a fair amount of Verno regardless. The greatest athlete to ever play tight end. I know people that know me get sick of this, but go look at Vernon Davis's combine stats sometime. He was not even a guy that was on people's radar, and then he went 5th overall because his combine was like the most. It's literally the best combine anyone has ever put out. The guy is such a monster athlete. He's stronger than Rob Gronkowski, and he's faster than Deshaun Jackson. I'll just put it that way.
but he's got Colt McCoy.
And he has tiny hands, which is why he never had like an amazing career. He couldn't catch the ball, but
Will Fuller style. All right. Yeah, I think the way I do picture it, Colt McCoy is more likely to utilize someone like Chris Thompson, short, easy passes. Don't let the pressure get to you. Be effective. People are asking about the kicker. Yeah, I have no problem with Hopkins tonight. You know, I have a trouble, similar to you, I guess, projecting kickers. You know, it's very fluky. They're going to get some opportunities. They need to make them. Check the weather. You know, this is outside. It's not as ideal. I prefer kickers in domes, of course. Like last night, before the Steelers went off sides like 8 consecutive times. That first kick was a great kick by that guy. And the ball went, I mean, what a turn it made. That was not his fault.
Heinz Field is legendarily like a brutal place to kick because it's right on the river too. So like they get a lot.
And Soldier Field are brutal.
Yeah.
Like, which is why Robbie Gould is just a monster.
Yeah, because Soldier Field is like right on the Great Lake. Like it's
horrible.
It's a giant body of water right next to it. Like it's.
So, I'm fine with doing that. Kickers are, if you think the game gets up and down, I don't think it's the best idea to jam them in or look to them because usually their ceilings are limited. But if you think the game is sloppy, they're one of the safest to get you 5+. You know, a couple field goals adds up quickly. So it's just about how you see the script going. I'm gonna have a lot more kicker exposure tonight than I did last night.
And these are two pretty good defenses, and you know, not amazing offenses. You know, fine offenses. So it's like, if they're moving the ball, like you're gonna have to play offensive players, right? You can't once you put in both defenses and both kickers, you still got to play 2 other guys. So you know they're gonna, it's gonna be an ugly game. If the teams are moving the ball, there's a very real chance that they stall a lot. There should be a lot of kicking opportunities. So probably gonna have a lot more kickers than I normally do.
You're also, and it comes with the territory, you're going to see a lot more teams of people doing that where they have double defense, a kicker, you know, and it's ugly because unlike last night, and you never know, but like I would have been stunned if both offenses really stalled where they were just ineffective. Yeah. Tonight's the kind of game, like if it was 13-6, I would say, wow, that was really ugly. It's not out of the realm of possibilities tonight.
Yeah, like last night, I think I had 1 Boswell lineup and 2 of whatever the San Diego.
You know his name before, yeah.
But tonight I will actually play the kickers. So
for sure. The tricky thing about tonight, just looking at the slate, you know, last night you mentioned this, like you could put Travis Benjamin at your captain, and then you could take 5 monsters. You know, it allowed you to get A.B. Connor, Keenan, a quarterback or whatever. Punting captain tonight, it doesn't seem to get you that much because there's not that much up there. It's like, it almost seems like an unnecessary thing to do because there's not enough superstars to justify why you're doing it.
Yep, I agree.
That makes it tricky because you can't really, like, I would venture to say that and this isn't, most likely this is what happens, but it would reason to me that the winning captain tonight is one of the best players on the slate, not someone who opens up salary constraints. That makes it tough. I don't love game, even though I like grinded out type football. It makes it harder from a showdown standpoint.
Yep. Question from the chat: Warner Brothers, are Redskins good against run? Yeah, they're good. They're just a solid all around defense. They're not spectacular at anything, but they're really good across the board. And then Jim DeVergilio, Eagles have literally practice squad players for a secondary. That's true, but their front 7 is still the best in the league. And against someone like Colt McCoy, I can hold coverage for half a second. You know, like if they get to the guy right away, I know what you're saying, but I don't know how much Colt McCoy is going to be able to take advantage of a terrible secondary when there's an elite front 7 coming at him.
They also don't have, you know, the most like you're talking about Doxson, Harris, Trey Quinn if he plays.
Who's white, which I didn't even know until last week.
He's just a guy. You're talking about dart throws. And I'm definitely gonna have someone like Doxson. I always get suckered into because he's tall and he reminds me of Sutton. But I still think that their game plan would be more if Crowder plays, guy like him, guy like Chris Thompson, control the game, zone reads, lean on your defense rather than taking shots against a weak secondary.
Right. Yeah, it's a riot that we're calling them dart throws because Doxson, Quinn, and Harris are literally the every down play. Like, that's the three receivers they have. Those guys are out there almost the whole game. But Colt McCoy is terrible.
Gone. And we'll see with Jordan Reed. Obviously, if he plays, he's a good guy. I could see myself going there because in the captain spot because he has multiple touchdown upside. And you can always, even if he doesn't have a ton of targets, you could always luck box into that.
Yep. Definitely. Our old pal Emac has a free article for tonight's game. If you want to read some more, breaking it down afterwards on the Osmo homepage, go check it out. Go look at the site. It's a free article, and then look at some other stuff. Get that bounce rate down. You know what I mean? These are words we're learning these days.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Obviously, we have a ton of stuff. If you want to track it out, use the promo code, get a free week, and then see what's what.
Yeah. And enter the free roll by liking this and picking your optimal captain on the YouTube page underneath this video. That would be rad.
All very true.
Thanks for making us look good, fellas. We appreciate it.
Yeah. God, I'm just scrolling through. This is one where also last night, for the most part, he didn't leave outrageous amounts on the table. Like a lot of lineups that I actually had were only like a couple $100 off the cap because there were so many superstars. This is one where the optimal lineup could leave, I think, a lot of money on the table.
Okay.
So I'm more prone to making that like, wow, I've left $6K on the table in a spot like this just because defense kickers and things like that are getting a boost.
Yep. Apparently Trey Quinn, we got some news out here. Trey Quinn got off the plane in a walking boot.
He is questionable, so that's not
good. Yeah. Worth monitoring. Who the hell is even up next there? I don't even know. That would make me like Vernon Davis even more, to be honest with you. Chris
Thompson will get.
Yeah, those are your safe. Yeah, those are become your safety valve guys.
Oh, don't worry, Michael Floyd.
Yeah, but he's not stepping into the slot.
Don't worry, Jihu Chesson. Don't know who that is. Never heard that name in my life. Yeah, so obviously, Jehu Chesson. I don't think I'm gonna be, unlike last night where there were viable guys.
You never listened to Drive Like Jehu? What's wrong with you, man?
What?
A band that maybe one person in that chat would understand. I don't know. Hot Snakes?
Certainly not me. Do we know if the Eagles are pass play or run play on the? I mean, obviously, if they're very close, I'm sure they're going to try to run that ball in. But we've seen Wentz time and time again. He has Ertz, who's one of the better guys. They run those short looks to him on the goal line.
That's Ertz's area too because he's trash in space. So
yeah, man, you're a closet Ertz hater. What the hell happened there?
I'm not a closet Ertz hater. I have compared him favorably to Jason Witten over the years, and people are like, "That's what people think that's some kind of insult." Jason Witten was incredible. Jason Witten,
the booth, he's incredible. So he's incredible tonight. I don't think they're that bad. I really don't.
No, they're all right. They've gotten better. I mean, it was just really awkward at first.
Michigan wide receiver, really? Man, Harbaugh, he's got to utilize those guys better. Never heard of this guy.
But everyone, the joke, I think especially because since DFS started, like Jason Witten was still like a relevant player. He was still like a quality fantasy tight end when we first started playing DFS, 6 years ago. And people made fun of him, the dad runner stuff. Like that came out immediately. Jason Witten was actually like a reasonable athlete. He wasn't like fast or anything, but Jason Witten was faster than Zach Ertz is. Zach Ertz is really slow. Zach Ertz is the ultimate dad runner. He's just young, so people think he's swaggy, so therefore he must be athletic. He's not. He's not athletic at all. But he's very good at catching the ball. He's incredible. He's like Jason Witten. That's his closest comp. That's not The guy's a fucking Hall of Famer. Like, I don't know how that comes across as such a big insult, but what are you gonna do?
Man, harsh, but not hard. I don't know. I was stunned how many people are like outwardly like this broadcast team is horrendous. They're not the best I've ever heard. I didn't find it that bad though.
Yeah, give them a little time. They'll get together. It was just awkward, especially the first couple weeks where it's like Booger would chime in every once in a while, and it's like, this is kind of the most informed guy out here.
Well, that was bad.
Yeah. So then they made him more of a part of it. And then he has just like, he's got certain dumb takes where he's, it's an insult to your defense to go for 2. And it's just
very dumb.
These sort of like get off my lawn old guy things that are easy to make fun of. Does Ertz practice in jorts? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Did Zach?
See, he played basketball in high school. Look at that. You don't know what you're talking about. Anything else? This is a game I'm not looking to bet this game.
Oh, can we get into another controversial? I want this. I like the. Sorry, no. Make your point first. But I have another controversial take that
Sure. No, I was just going to say from a betting because we are. I just want to say real quick on Awesemo, and this stuff is in front of the paywall. On Twitter, if you don't follow Awesemo Odds, which was the original FanVice account, give it a look. We're unveiling a lot of betting stuff. We're going to have some fun tools there. Nothing too serious. We're not touting crazy picks, so we're not going to go that route. But just some fun stuff. I wrote a couple articles, so if you do bet, give it a read. They're free. You don't have to sign up or anything. We have reverse line movement. We have a couple other coming out. Me and Andrew have videos accompanying them. So if you're getting into betting, it's a good thing to check out. Anyway.
It's going to be out there come Sunday, so like you just got to get used to it.
Always. I want to hear this controversial take. Go ahead.
I mean, there's people in the chat still that are just like, well, you compared Ertz to Witten Law. It's like, I don't know. Witten was awesome, and that's his ceiling, is like to be the next Jason Witten. That's a Hall of Fame player. And Witten was good for fantasy too, and was an amazing blocker. Blah 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 blah. Oh, just we're talking about, okay, Ertz played basketball in high school. I think that was maybe a joke. I have no idea. but yeah, about, does that mean he's an athlete? Like all of these people, like all professional athletes were the point guard.
6-tier sports.
Yeah, they were the point guard and the shortstop and the starting pitcher and the quarterback, all of them. So like the idea, I don't know, the Shohei Ohtani thing, like I
God, back to that.
I love this one, though. There is zero chance. And listen, he was awesome at both. And I think he could be amazing at either. There is zero chance that guy will ever be a top-tier starting pitcher and top-tier hitter at the same time. It can't happen. Like, the Suns need a point guard. Like, should Zach Greinke, like, come help them out? I'm sure he was the point guard of his high school team. It's the same thing. They're pitching and hitting are different sports. You cannot, like, people are so specialized now. It takes so much time to study what you're good at. You can't.
I agree with that part. Everything's getting more specialized.
Yeah.
So
there's just no way to know every pitcher the way and know every hitter at the same time. It's just like you can't do it.
It's just like DFS.
Yeah.
Can't be playing everything. All right, Chad. Anything else for the game? Let us know before we wrap on up. But for you, do you think just from a pure NFL standpoint, like I think the Eagles win this game?
Yeah.
Okay. Spread is fair in my book. I don't really particularly want to lay the 6, but at home they both desperately need it. I think the Eagles find a way to win.
I think the Eagles are still a good team. They're just they're having the year from hell. Wentz has come back to earth a little bit. I think it's been tough for him to come back from his ACL tear. But the thing is, like, the Eagles, both of their lines, their offensive and defensive lines, are amazing. And, like, if you got that, you're in great shape.
Always.
So I think that they're set up. They'll be good again soon. Like, they're just, they had a trash year. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Coming off of Super Bowls, look what happens. It's not uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
One last thing, chat. Just so you know, so golf, this is the real break for golf. We have some time off. So tomorrow, there is no golf show or anything, but we had so much fun. If you were with us last week, we did a Q&A. We did a grab bag, a mail bag, where we just went pure questions about anything in DFS, anything in general. And it was awesome. We had a great time. So we're going to do one of those Wednesday for you guys. 2:30, same time. If you have questions, hit us on Twitter. If you're in our Slack already, shoot it and we'll talk about it on the show. Just let us know about it. Or you can just drop in on Wednesday and ask it on the fly. But we are doing another grab bag, not tomorrow, but Wednesday at 2:30.
We may try to do these weekly for the golf break, at least through the holidays, because golf isn't back till January. So yeah, it was a blast. And irreverent stuff, DFS strategy stuff. It's basically anything but plays for the slate that day.
Yeah, we have a ton of great shows that are slate specific, but I don't think there's as much just kind of talking overall strategy and more macro level things. So if you like that, if you want to be part of it, let us know. Do we know what the team's pace of plays are?
I can look it up.
He can look it up, and I'll answer does Mike McCarthy land a coaching job in an NFL team the remaining year? I think he might have a little trouble getting scooped up. He's been there for a long time. I don't think it's an Andy Reid situation, I'll say that much, where he's just hired immediately. Do you?
No, I think it's going to come down to there's owners out there that would hire a Mike McCarthy type. I think most people are looking for a Sean McVay.
Of course.
But he is a Super Bowl winning coach. He's got this pedigree. I think he'll get another job. I just don't think it'll be immediate, and I don't think there's if this happened 5 years ago, he'd get hired tomorrow.
I agree with that. I think it's changing. Not to devolve everything, but I truly think this Jeff Fisher, Sean McVay the people seeing the difference in the Rams from that has furthered that thing that was already trending the way of people realizing these dynamic minds are what you want to do. And we would all probably be talking about how bad Jared Goff was. If Jeff Fisher was still in charge of them, there's a real chance he just never would have got there.
Yeah. I mean, people think Jared Goff is good. I'm just kidding. He's been very good this year. He was very bad yesterday. The Eagles and Redskins both play at about as league average of a pace as you could possibly have.
There's a lot about this game. When we were prepping for the show, that's just these teams both do a lot of things pretty well or a little worse than average. There's not glaring. The Eagles secondary is glaringly hurt. Mm-hmm. But other than that, the Redskins defense is pretty solid across the board. They're not elite. They're not top, but they're not terrible. And there's a lot of that in this game.
Right. And the Eagles secondary, yeah, it's glaringly hurt, but the front seven is good enough that it takes it takes special players to really make them look bad. If they're up against the Julio Jones type or something like that you're going to be able to take advantage of. But gets Josh Doxson, I'm not, with Colt McCoy throwing to Josh Doxson, and I think Trent Williams is out again. The Redskins are not a particularly scary offense that are going to take care of just bad cornerbacks. Because cornerbacks, they're not as important to your pass defense as your defensive line is. And I know that's sort of antithetical to how you would process that. We'd like to look at wide receiver cornerback matchups. It can be helpful, but what's more important is, does the quarterback have time to throw the ball? Or is the quarterback good in the first place?
Yeah, pressure is key in all aspects of it all, including DFS defenses.
And life, man, don't feel the pressure.
Yeah. Golden Tate, does he score a TD? He's definitely probably a dog in that prop. But I think he does. I'm with you. I think that's a good call by you. Golden Tate's a guy, he had 8 targets last couple games. He's going to continue to grow in that offense. Gets easier throws. That's a guy I'm going to be overweight on, barring that he's ridiculously owned, and he won't be. He's going to be popular like every good player on Showdown, but he's a guy I think we could exploit tonight a bit.
Yep. I do. So since the question we were asking of the chat is, what's your optimal captain? Who's your optimal captain?
Obviously, Wentz to me is truly this when you factor in everything overall. Let's do this. Let's give our favorite captain and then one dark horse captain, because saying Wentz or Ertz it doesn't say as much. So I think Wentz for me is the best overall captain. And if you want an under the radar one, I'm going to say Jordan Reed, pending that he plays.
Okay. I think that's a fun one to see because we don't know if he's going to play. So
no.
And I think people know that he is a little bit hurt. So
he's not going to be a popular captain tonight.
Right. And
he always has big upside because he's a big, he can catch touchdowns.
Got a lot of talent. I really like Vernon Davis if he's out. That's almost like who I want to play as my dark horse captain. But I agree. I think Wentz is. I think I will play probably half of my lineups with Wentz as captain with like Ertz and Tate.
So let me ask you this before we get out of here. With Vernon Davis, will you have teams that have Vernon Davis and Jordan Reed?
Probably not.
Okay. Interesting.
I will probably make a group so that they are not overlapped.
Because on Thanksgiving, I know it's one anomaly. That worked if you did that.
Right.
No one really did. But it showed you could get by there. I'm more prone to do that than you tonight, I think.
Okay. I mean, I think it worked on Thanksgiving because Jordan Reed got banged up in game, and then Verno caught the super long touchdown, right? Like
there's that, or
it wasn't even that long. It was a Colt McCoy screen, and then he outran everyone because Vernon Davis is really fast, guys. God damn it, he's fast.
Yeah, Vernon Davis and Tate. Ooh, that's a good one. Gustavo just said this is a really sneaky captain. Sproles. I'm not there, but if you want to talk about off the ball, he's been an afterthought because he's been hurt. He catches, if he can get involved, that'd be very sneaky, though.
Okay. I am going to, after the show, I will update the projections. These are still, the last update I did was yesterday morning, so I don't, and they had practice on Saturday, but I really got to go through these games and update. It's a tough game to trust projections on because there's so many Q tags, so if you're going to use them, I would make your you can make groups on Cruncher where it says play at most of one of, so like an example group would be Vernon Davis and Jordan Reed. You can say play at most one of these guys, so that way you're not playing both of them in the same lineup. Mm-hmm. I would do stuff like that and do a fair amount of that because a lot of this is going to be if this guy's out, this guy's better. If this guy, and a lot of it we may not even know if they're out, right? Like so they may both play, but sort of like Tyrell Williams last night. It's like he played, and that's what kept Travis Benjamin's ownership below 50%. But
it was a huge boost last night that Tyrell Williams was If he was inactive, all the ownership would have flooded. Everyone would have been saying Travis Benjamin, Mike Williams. But the fact that he had played 9 snaps in the game before, he was active again, and we saw he's being basically rested while active. Not a factor. So that could happen tonight with a guy. And that's where you can really exploit the ownership.
Mm-hmm. And like our buddy Michael says, Sproles and Reed have that hurt on the first drive factor so much. They absolutely do. So, like, while I don't mind playing either, like, I definitely would be making lineups with that in mind. And even, they could get hurt or they play, but they're super limited and do the Tyrell Williams from last night then. So
last thing I'll say is, we talk all the time about you want to build based on narratives. Most of the time your narrative is what happens in the game. You can also build on a narrative of a player's status. So, like, I'm going to build with Jordan Reed being hurt tonight and active. So, if that was the case, how would you build? Vernon Davis obviously would get a huge boost. Maybe someone like Chris Thompson gets a boost. You can build off narratives, and then if one of those proves correct, you've built for a slate that other people haven't.
Exactly. That's the way to do it.
All right.
Excellent. All right, well, thanks, everyone, for listening. Ben, happy Monday. Pleasure talking to you. If you don't mind liking us and comment your optimal captain in the thing, you get entered into the free roll for us. Check it out. Appreciate you all, and we will see you on Wednesday for the mailbag. Get your questions ready. You can, if you're a member, hit us up on Twitter or DM us in Slack if you want questions in the queue, because sometimes the chat's all riled up. We can't get to everything, but we will.
Yeah, we do our best, but hit us before the show. We'll be happy to take care of them.
Absolutely. All right. See y'all.